Go. Flight controllers, gonna go for landing. Retro. Go. Fido. Go. Guidance. Go. Patrol. Go. Telcom. Go. GNC. Go. Econ. Go. Surgeon. Go. Capcom, we're go for landing.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Spoon FPV. So today I kind of want to go over, my rules to fly with friends. And this is the rules to fly FPV with friends, not those friends, your friends that wear goggles. So I wanted to keep it kind of simple and just down to 10 rules. And these aren't really ordered in any specific order, but the first rule is to know your channel and find your channel buddies. So by that is know what channel you're transmitting on when you're going to plug in, and know other people that are on the same channel as you, so that you can not plug in when they're using the channel. So depending on the size of the event, it could be one or two people that are on the same channel, or it could be 10 or 20 people. So the next rule is to know your transmit power, or the power required for the day. So it depends on the event. Some events are going to allow only 25 milliwatts. Some events are going to allow up to 200. But you should be prepared to transmit at the power for the day when you show up to an event. And it used to be pretty hard to do that, but now manufacturers are offering transmitters that will transmit at multiple powers, so it's a little more approachable to have multiple transmit powers, because before you used to have to have multiple transmitters. And I'm glad that manufacturers are understanding the market and starting to release things that do multiple powers. So the next one is don't plug in near your buddy or when it's not your turn on the frequency. So a lot of guys will plug in the pits. We call it in the pits, right? And that it'll either be when it's their turn or when it's not their turn. And it's just to work on their quad, and it's not malicious, and they don't mean it. They're like, oh yeah, I just want to check this one thing, and they plug in for a second. But somebody's up on that, and could be up on that channel. And then you're totally spamming their video feed, because the don't plug in near your buddy, or when it's not your turn. The near your buddy part is because when somebody's flying, they're much farther away than you are with your transmitter. And this analog stuff, it doesn't exactly stay completely and a lot of guys will say, well, it doesn't, I'm on a different channel than them, right? It shouldn't matter. Well, it does leak a very small amount into the other parts of the frequency spectrum. And because the other person is far away, that leakage is enough to overwhelm their signal, because because their signal is so weak compared to your leakage, which it isn't very much. It might be equivalent to 5 milliwatts or what. I'm not a super RF dude, but it's over the distance, right? The farther you are away, the weaker your signal is. So, and you should the next rule is to designate a landing spot, and you should also designate with the landing spot. You should designate a spot to plug in. So this is going to be a two-part series. So this part is how to fly as an individual that shows up an event, and I'm going to do a later series that's going to be how to set up an event for event organizers. So you want to have a designated landing spot and a plug-in spot, and land and plug in, and land in that spot, and not, because again, if you land at your feet, which is very convenient, it's very, very convenient to land at your feet, and I know, and a lot of people do it, and 99% of the time you get away with it because you're not sitting right next to somebody who's flying. But it's a lot safer to land farther away, and it's also safer for your buddy who's using that channel or an adjacent channel, because landing near them is going to be equivalent to plugging in near them, because your frequency is going to be so much stronger than their frequency, and it's going to overpower their weaker signal that's farther away. And a lot of guys will go out and pick up their quad after they land from the landing spot. They're trying to follow the rules and trying to be respectful, and they forget to unplug before they come back to the pits, and they'll walk right down the line and right past everybody, blasting at 600 milliwatts right next to people's heads, and there will be a line, like, you can, hey, who's plugged in? Hey, who's plugged in? You'll get that. So the next rule is to announce when you're plugging in. So you'll say, hey, I'm plugging in on F6 or whatever, or I'm plugging in on 5865. Whatever the rule for the day is of what you're gonna announce. I personally like to announce the channel number, but a lot of guys will announce the band. I think it's a lot less ambiguous to because you're gonna know your channel and know your frequency. So I'm plugging in on 5865 or whatever. I screwed that up. It should be 5685. I'm dyslexic, by the way. So you should announce when you're plugging in. I'm plugging in on 5685 or whatever channel it is that you're assigned. And that does two things. It provides the other pilots who are flying the opportunity to look for glitches and have something to associate those glitches with. So when you say, hey, I'm plugging in, you plug in and their video gets all glitchy, you can say, they will say unplug, 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 because like now you're, and everybody's listening for it, and the guy that's plugging in should be listening for somebody to be yelling unplug when they plug in. And the other thing is, if you're announcing your channel that you're on, it gives your channel buddy, who you should know, but if it's a bigger event, whatever, who you should know is the opportunity to say, hey, I'm on that channel while he's flying, right? And prevent you from plugging in. So the next rule is to use assigned channels. So we in this region, I fly with guys from Maryland and Delaware and New Jersey, and in this region we tend to use IMD 5, which is 5685. I will fix this when I put it up, put a link for this in the description so that you can print these out. 5760, 5800, 5860, 5905. Those are generally the 5 channels that we stick to, and there is a website that goes over the different frequency spectrums that you can use. And so there's IMD 6, there's IMD 8, and it's basically IMD 5 is 5 channels, and it's the least crowded, and it provides a decent number of pilots to go up and still have an enjoyable flying experience where there's the frequency band's not so saturated where the frequency band's not so saturated that people have to deal with a fair bit of noise. So, and the things like don't plug in near your buddy, I'm going to announce when you're plugging in, that still applies to the people that are flying. I have some experience with the Connex Pro site, but the HD systems as well, because those are still on the 5.8 gigahertz band, and they are transmitting, but in that band and taking up frequency space in the band, but they're hopping around very, very quickly, and they shouldn't provide, or they shouldn't cause that much interference. But if they plug in right next to somebody, you can still overwhelm their transmitter, or not their, you can overwhelm their transmitter because it's farther away, but you're going to overwhelm their receiver that's near them. So the next rule is to check in with who's in charge. It's usually the guy that set up the gates or set up the course or whatever, and follow the rules, whatever the rules are of the day. So the landing spot's over there, we're going to fly this course, we're going to everybody's going to do a power loop once, like whatever the rules of the day are, like you should follow their rules, because that's part of like the be respectful part, and also it makes everything more predictable. So, and fly the course. So flying the course is important for twofold, because it stops people from flying down the line or too close. If the course is set up appropriately, and I'll go over this also in my next part of this series for how to set up an FPV event. But if the course is set up appropriately, you shouldn't be flying right past the line or close to people, because somebody might be very, very close to themselves in that situation, and somebody might be far away, and the person that's far away, it's going to be like somebody's plugged in next to them. So fly the course. Don't go off course. It helps you find things if they fall off your quad. And the other thing is, you're not gonna head on with somebody that's going through the gate the right way, and then they're gonna be mad because like you're gonna really break stuff if you have a full speed head on, because you were off course flying the wrong direction. So, and it also, if the race organizer allows some people to go out on the course and pick up their stuff like while people are flying, I disagree with that totally. But that's the prerogative of the person that's running the event. If that's the rule, then it allows you to go out on the course a lot more safely if people are flying the course. So if everybody's flying the course, you can know, hey, they're going to come down this straight, they're going to go past these gates, and kind of say, okay, they're over there. Now's a safe spot to cross the course, right? But if they're flying like wherever willy-nilly, like they could just fly into you at any point, and you'd like change direction and come right back on you, and you wouldn't be expecting it. So I don't think you should be out on the course when people are flying, but if you are, hey, it helps you do that a lot safer. The next rule is to choose when to pass, and this kind of goes along with my be respectful kind of theme of this whole thing. So you should choose a good spot to pass your buddy when you're flying. So if you don't think that you can pass him without taking him out, you probably shouldn't pass him. You shouldn't just try and slam it home and hope and pray that you make it. I know they're toys and whatever, but that guy's out there competing too. He's trying to make a good lap. So you shouldn't be knocking people out. I mean, and you're gonna knock yourself out 9 times out of 10 if you slam into somebody when you're trying to go by them. So, if a guy's flying, and the thing is, when you fly with people, and if you're flying heats and you're flying with the same group of people all day, you get kind of a feeling for, okay, the guy with the yellow props he flies a nice straight line and he kind of goes through the gate on the right side. You'll get a feeling for where you can pass people safely. So choose when to pass so that you don't take your buddy or yourself out. And be respectful and don't hog the channels as the last rule. So depending on the course, depending on the day, depending on the event, if you're one of those guys that's, crashing out every 10 seconds and can't make it around the course, but you still have a pack left, and it's going to take you 30 minutes to go through a pack, and the whole time you're hogging the channel for people that are that want to fly on for your channel buddies. So you should, if you crash out, once or twice or whatever, try, if a normal lap and a normal flight session is going for about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, then you should try and keep it down to 2 or 3 minutes that you're using the band before you turn it over to the next guy, because somebody else is waiting to use that channel, and you kind of want to keep things moving. So if you're sitting on the line for 10 minutes before you go, or waiting for people or whatever, and this is a rule that's not in here, but you should be on your game and be prepared to fly when it's your turn to fly, so that way you're not waiting around. And I'll go over this, I guess, in my how to organize an event, because that's really where that should be discussed. But when you plug in, get in the air, and fly your stuff, and get down and unplug and let somebody else use the channel, so that way. And be respectful. They are toys. Everybody's here to have fun. For the most part, I don't think that anybody or fly with anybody that's going to maliciously try and break your stuff. So if a midair happens or whatever, you should be really glad that you got the footage and kind of laugh it off and brush it off. And as long as it wasn't malicious, you shouldn't be upset, because stuff happens. So Let's run back through these one more time as a recap. So rule number 1 is, when you show up to the event, know your channel and find your channel buddies that are using the same channel. Know what your transmit power is and what the power of the day is for that event. You don't want to plug in near your buddies, land near your buddies, have your transmitter on in the pits. turn on at any point when you're not supposed to, or be near your friends that are flying with your quad plugged in, because you're going to overpower them. And that still applies to the guys flying the HD systems. You want to designate a landing spot and stick to that landing spot, and definitely unplug before returning to the pits and logging by your friends. You need to announce when you're plugging in to provide your buddies an opportunity to say unplug if you're causing them interference. And you need to come up with an assigned channels list. We prefer IMD 5, which is those bands there. And you should check in with whoever's organizing the event for the day and follow the rules that they have set in addition to these rules. And they'll mostly be based around this. Or this type of stuff. And you want to fly the course so that it makes it safer for everybody's equipment and everybody that's flying. And you want to choose when to pass so that you're not taking yourself out or your buddy out unnecessarily because you chose a risky spot to pass. And be respectful and don't hog the channel, and fly for if you're flying 2-minute heats, unplug after 2 minutes. Get in, get up, get out. So I hope that you found this helpful, and I'm really appreciative to all my new subscribers and everybody and all the positive feedback that's been coming my way. So it makes it really worth it for me to take the time to do these. And so I will make the channel guide. I'll have a link to the channel guide for either IMD 6, IMD 5. All that stuff's going to be down in the description, and I'll put a link to a doc down in the description so that you can actually download this and print this out and take it with you. And I'll fix the 5865 thing here. It should be 5685. So, other than that, oh, and one more thing. I need something to close my videos out with. You can comment in the below. Don't give me anything that's been. I'm trying to think of something that hasn't been taken. That's kind of me, but maybe just don't forget to bring a spoon or something silly. But I'd kind of rather have it more around FPV. So, all right, that's enough babbling. So hopefully this was helpful, and I look forward to doing the video next Monday on how to fly or how to set up a race event.